Hello, Lisa. Do you have any time for another call? I have a question about impulsive lying. Every time I'm outside with my friends, I make up stories, lies, just so I can show I have experiences like them. I'm scared that will think I'm not valid if I just stay silent. Can I call you if you have time? Sure, you can call.
So I have a question about like impulsive lying.
Yeah, just before, because I can tell that you're going to talk about your personal life. Just be aware, because the last couple of weeks I've had some callers that have come in and then felt like they've overexposed themselves, because then it's on the internet afterwards. So just be
Yeah,
aware of that.
yeah. Um, so whenever I am hanging out with my friends, let's say they'll bring up stuff, experiences that they had, and I noticed that ever since I was a child, I would always have this impulse to to say stories that I had experiences similar to them, even though I didn't, because it's better to, talk than to just stay silent. And I don't know. And immediately after I say this or say this lie, I always feel guilty, but I keep on doing it and I don't know how to stop.
Yeah. Do they never realize?
Well, I feel like sometimes they could tell that I'm over exaggerating things, but they never really tell me up front.
Yeah. Do you have a sense of what feeling it is that triggers you when you're in the social situation?
Yes, usually I'm more of the quiet one, and then I tend to overthink that people are thinking how I'm not saying anything or I'm not contributing to the conversation, and then that kind of like builds up this anxiety that I have to say something, so then I just like compulsively like make these stories.
Yeah. I think it's great that you're able to sit here and admit it. I think that's a really good positive thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
If it, I mean, I don't know, I don't know like the other people's advice. My advice would be to be as authentic as you can to them. So one way you could start it is to admit to them what you've been doing,
Mm-hmm.
and begin from there, and just to admit that you feel shy and you don't know what to say. You don't have to be someone to be liked. You see, if you carry on this situation, what you're always saying to yourself unconsciously is you're not good enough the way you are.
Yeah.
Like you're putting yourself in circumstances where you're feeling like the people expect you to be a certain way, and you're saying that being quiet isn't good enough, that not participating isn't good enough, and I have to be something else. And then you're lying, which is like is harmful to you and to them because of trust for them. Like, and in the long run, it's harmful in the relationship.
Yeah.
And it's encouraging a pattern that you're not enough and you are enough. You're always enough, and you don't have to cover up the silences. The silences are just as valid. But it's something that will most probably take quite a lot of working through, because you've got to get used to that feeling of insecurity, so you don't just keep acting out that insecurity that you're not enough. So
Yeah.
it's a feeling that you're going to have to give attention to, and like like get used to feeling that feeling without acting out.
Like I feel like when I was a child, I used to not really talk with the other kids, and so people would say, "Why don't you ever talk? Are you a mute?" and that kind of stuff. And then that really, I guess, got to me. So then as a child and as I grew older, I would start impulsively talking even though it wasn't truth.
Yeah. I mean, what is truth at the end of the day? But so because of the subject, there is difference like between where you know consciously that you're making something up. Like
Yeah.
so I mean, ultimately on the ultimate level, everybody's story is untrue, but in the relative world, there is like a collective reality that we all hold, and you know that it's not lining up with that collective reality. But it's not a wise game, because if you get caught, like really caught, you'll lose your friends. Trust is such an important thing with humans. It's really important to people. And I really have compassion, because I really understand why that happens. And the biggest advice I could give is to get used to that feeling of insecurity, so you don't act it out. And you don't have to speak, you don't have to be something. Maybe you can also try and befriend people that are comfortable with silence. So I don't like chit chat. I don't like certain circumstances of talking with people. Predominantly, it's in conversations which I'm not that interested in. I don't like to have to participate verbally. It's just what feeling comes up. So if it's not a subject I'm interested in, I'm quite happy normally to sit there, but I don't really want to verbally participate. And when I was younger, that was the circumstance with a lot of my peers. So what I did was I put myself in social situations with Buddhists, because what I liked about the Buddhists was they were super comfortable about being in silence, and if I didn't feel like participating in a conversation, there was absolutely no issue with it. And that helped me adjust to getting used to silence. So yesterday I was at a party, and I was sat on the corner of the party, and I was quite happy actually, because I was sat in a position where it looked like it was just chance that had ended me up sitting there, but it meant that I didn't really have to participate that much. And then eventually one of my relatives shooed me into the party, so I had to go and sit in the table and participate more verbally. But luckily they were all really chatty, so I didn't really have to say much. I love to chat, but only when I'm interested in the subject. Otherwise it feels fake and forced, and I don't like it.
Yeah. But usually I have like a really hard time accepting insecurity. Like my body gets very anxious and my hands almost start shaking.
Yeah,
Then
yeah.
and then I feel like everyone's staring at my hands shaking and thinking, "Oh, she's really nervous right now," and that kind of stuff. And then making up these stories in my head.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's something that I would practice, is getting used to that feeling so that you can tolerate it, like not running away from it. And then I would really encourage you to be around people, because there are people out there where you can be more honest. You're allowed to have friends where you can be honest and you can be yourself, and put that as your goal. I want friends where I can express myself, and if my expression is silence and not participating, that's okay. So you're allowed to look for friends that fit more like that, because there are people in society which have different beliefs and different outlooks. But another thing that to recommend with your current social situation is to get used to that feeling and try not to act out of that. And then the next one is open yourself to making different friends that will, where you can express to them, I like to be quite quiet.
Okay.
Like I'm normally super happy when I meet people that instantly express to me that they like to be quiet. I'm like, woohoo! Like because I don't like to participate in conversations that I'm not interested in. And I feel compassion for other people, because I also feel sorry for them when I can see that they're so used to always talking, and they're used to a certain reply, and they want you to reply in a certain way. So I do feel empathy and compassion, and I sometimes make effort in certain circumstances, but I try not to, because I feel like it's healthier to be as genuine as you can.
Okay. I'll try starting with the getting used to insecurity.
Yeah, yeah, and there's exercises you can do to help pass it through your body. There's lots of, you can look it up on the internet or you can watch more of my talks. I don't talk about it that much, but exercises to help that because it's meant to be a trauma that you're identifying of when you were younger and you're put under pressure, like and helping to deal with it.
Do you mean exercises like in shadow work or?
Yeah, there's also the rapid eye movement as well. I've forgotten what it's called. You can look up rapid eye movement, which helps digest trauma. It's like based on the theory at night time we digest trauma, and when we're digesting it, our eyes move rapidly, and so they do it so that you consciously remember things, and you do this rapid eye movement. You
Oh, I
can,
didn't know about that.
yeah, you could look that up. And then there's another book called Waking the Tiger, which talks about traumas, because mostly when you're younger, like as a child, you're put under stress and your body's re-identifying with that every time, and an emotion, a particular emotion's coming up that's stuck that you could examine.
Okay. Thank you.
Oh, it's a pleasure. Thank you so much for your call. Nice to talk with you. Bye. EMDR it's called, it's the name. Oh, thanks, yeah.